Welcome to Oops All Segments, the very best podcast hitting your eardrums at this very moment. I'm Kevin.
I'm Thomas, and today we are here with returning champion, Adam Mastroianni. He's here in the studio.
Oh, it's already frozen.
It's Kevin's voice, for sure. That was Kevin. That was not a found scream. He made that himself. He cooked that up just for you. Welcome, Adam.
Wow, thank you. Not everybody gets the scream treatment, I assume.
I think that might be the debut of that sound cue. So yeah,
Thomas sort of gave me shit about our soundboard being stale last episode, and I thought I'd come out swinging.
Bing bong.
We're here. We're back. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. You know, they say you play Oops All Segments twice. Once on the way up and once at the top. So here I am, back again.
Yeah.
The pinnacle of your life, your career, your comedic sensibilities. It's all culminating here now.
Yeah.
Wow. So good to have you back.
After this, I curl up in a coffin.
And I just it is true. It's not like Carmen Christopher's out here making big moves anymore.
No.
After he swung by the
took
pod.
A steep nosedive after he appeared on the show. I will say, I'm sorry, Adam, we couldn't afford the adult coffin. We got you the child coffin, so you have to curl up to fit your body in there. You're a pretty tall guy.
That's fine.
But
no, okay. That's the way I want to go anyway. I want to arrive in the afterlife with them knowing I'm a coward. they don't have to find that out later. Embarrassing.
You want to get a little sympathy from the demons and devils and stuff when you show up. Like, oh, this guy's
like, this is a weak one. This one is go gentle.
Imagine being so worthy of pity.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's being so worthy of pity that the demons of hell, who have seen countless amounts of sniveling fucks, are like, this guy's the one that we gotta give our pity to.
This is the latest man we've ever seen down here.
His ironic punishment is having to play spin the bottle with popular girls, because that's his idea of a nightmare. It's fucking dork.
I'm excited that Adam's on the show because last time we had Adam on the show, and of course I'm not in the business of making viral reels anymore for the show these days because I'm too fucking busy. But Adam's last episode with us was one that generated some actual reactions. We got called, I believe, dollar store versions or Temu versions of various celebrities, the trio of us. I don't remember the name of the one I got called, but he was some, I think, like Manosphere podcaster.
I can't imagine how they got that idea about you.
You got Thomas. I believe you obviously got Tobey Maguire, and Adam, you got John Oliver.
That's what I usually get.
Yeah, which is too bad.
What do you guys feel about? Do you think John Oliver yells a bit too much? I feel like he's really leaning on shouting to get his comedy across. I like the content of his show, but it's pretty shouty. Would you not agree?
I think the formula lays itself bare very often it's
Seth Meyers suffers from the same thing where it's like you can just tell exactly how this bit is going to be structured.
Yeah, and I know what ridiculous sort of cute animal they're gonna call back. For the punchline in the third act of the segment.
It feels like the wrong show for our era. That Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert made a lot of sense in the Bush administration. This is the appropriate level of parody to bring to this, but the source material is already too much parody. Oh, you're gonna call him Donald Trump now? That's the best you got. He's better at this than you are.
Right.
I'd rather watch his weekly show.
You're gonna blow up or light on fire a wooden sign that says 2025 or whatever. It's like there are Nazis marching on Washington. That's not good enough anymore.
It's just like, guys, have you got a load of this yet? Like, yeah, man. Yeah, we have.
Doing sort of shitty Jay Leno level criticism as well. Stop our marching in the streets does feel a little...
And this is going to sound critical because I don't think my political views or like engagement is much better. But I do feel a lot of people consider themselves radically left because they listen and then parrot John Oliver talking points. Like that is a whole perspective that a lot of people hold of like, 100%. I watched Last Week Tonight and that's why I'm like a full communist.
FBI, open up!
Wow. So they've killed
the
my...
soundboard just suggests that Thomas is getting raided by the FBI, led by his fiancée Kim, who then explodes.
Is she possibly a patsy? Like she's been hired to kind of...
She's ratted you to the thought police.
Wow. It really paints a picture. Thank you, Kevin. Now, Adam, we start the show by asking our guests to check in. What's been going on in your life? It's been a little bit since you and I have hung out, though it's wonderful since you were last on. I think now that you live here again, we're so happy to have Adam in Chicago. How's the last week or two been for you?
It's been good. I'm writing a book. I have to finish the book by May 1st. And that just means my life is worse a little bit because I have to squeeze my brain to make the book come out. But I'm feeling like I can see the light at the end of it. Like writing this book has always felt like I climbed to the top of a mountain and I'm like, I made it. And then only at the top of the mountain can I see that there's another taller mountain.
Yeah.
It's only visible from this mountain. I have to climb down this mountain and up that mountain.
Oh, there's not even a connection bridge or anything. Yeah.
No.
No.
They're like you have to make your life worse before you make your life better, which is always what I've subscribed to. There are no improvements.
And that is the title of the book, right? Yeah.
It is a self-help book of how to ruin everything. And then improve from there.
Sure.
You got to lower the bar to raise the bar. So
Adam did do a reading of his intro chapter that Kim and I got to go to with some other people, and it was really great. It's already excellent.
Can I ask about the book? Like, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so. We don't have time, but it's nice. All right, curious.
It's impossible.
No, go ahead.
We have to move on.
The book is framed around the question of why did it take us 300,000 years to invent the toilet? Which is really like, why did everything take so long to invent? We've been humans a long time, but like, kind of seems like we only really started doing stuff fairly recently. I don't mean to cast aspersions on every generation of humans before like the last 10, but they're not pulling their weight historically, I think.
Right. And it's okay if you're gonna like they're not coming for you. You're sort of
I
as you point out, presumably in the book. In the book. Even if they were somehow able to confront you about this, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it because they're useless little fucks.
All of Adam's haters have been dead for hundreds of years. So
you're sort of dunking on skeletons.
I feel like it's the last group we really haven't maligned yet.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't gotten clear enough on why this group of humans is bad.
One of my favorite.
People talk about the global majority, but not eternally speaking. And I feel like this is the real global majority is just the dead.
I think it's a Simpsons quote of "He's so smart, how come he's dead?" which I do think is a great way of viewing human history.
That's a good one. That sounds very interesting. That sounds.
That's the book. And there's some light, non-linear elements to the book. It's a sort of a strange book. You have to make some choices at various points, multiple endings.
Very
there's
cool.
a lot going on.
Very compelling
in the book. The like key intellectual inspiration for the book is a book I read when I was like 5 years old called "There's a Monster at the End of This Book." I don't know if you guys ever read this.
Yes, yeah.
That just like that blew my mind, and this is my way of ultimately processing the way that I felt reading that book.
Your childhood trauma.
A kid reading "There's a Monster at the End of This Book" puts it down, goes, "Every human in the last 500,000 generations have been morons. This is genius.
Because they didn't come up with this.
I'm the first smart kid. The book is incredibly self-aggrandizing. It's just about...
I personally am better than every human who's ever lived up till this point. But you could be even better if you ruin your life first.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah. That's really compelling.
Yeah,
very curious, and sounds like a shitload of work. I'm doing great. I just got back from a trip. I got back from a little vacay in Toronto. I got to visit friend of the pod, Luke. Luke Thessalon. I got to see 9 Inch Nails in concert, which is my favorite band.
That's very cool. Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor, famous now composer of Hollywood cinema. Surprising amount of songs that he played were from movies, which I thought was interesting.
What was the movie he just did? Wasn't he just doing one this year? It was like...
He's done it quite a few
maybe he
this
does
year.
Them so much, but I swear I saw his name in a trailer, but it doesn't matter. I'll look at it.
I mean, they did Tron Ares was the big one.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking
soundtrack
of.
for Tron Ares. That's the big one.
Yeah. When he
soundtrack good.
That he composes, is it kind of like ambient? Like, does he go from playing like only? He's like, there is no you, and then it's just like
genuinely yes, yeah, genuinely yes, like yeah. They did this really cool thing where they had 2 different stages, and in the center stage that was surrounded by the audience, they did like a DJ live remix set of their music where they went and it was just Trent Reznor and keyboard player Atticus Ross and DJ Boys Noise, and they were sort of live remixing some of their songs, which was very cool. And then they would go over to this main stage and do a much more traditional sort of aggressive, hard, like heavy metal-y, rocky kind of show. So it was very cool. Very fun experience. They're getting old. I'm getting old. I feel like I probably won't be able to see them on tour again in the future.
Yeah.
This is the third time they've said it's their last tour.
It was like on a fucking Tuesday too, right? You had to go in the
middle of the week.
It was a
Wednesday. It was a Wednesday, and we had to go to Hamilton, Ontario. I flew into Toronto the day before. Luke and I were going to drive, but the weather was terrible, so we took the GO train into Hamilton, Ontario. And then when we got to Hamilton, Ontario, Luke does not know Hamilton, Ontario that well, so we walked in the wrong direction for a little while, missed the GO train back to Toronto, which would have saved us quite a bit of money, and I ended up spending $160 on a lift to get us from Hamilton, Ontario, back to Toronto, so that Luke could go to work in the morning and our lives would be normal. It was but it was a great evening. The concert was fun. I got overcharged for the merch, so I had to buy 2 t-shirts. It was an interesting night. It was very expensive.
He called a lift from Hamilton. That's right, he called a lift from Hamilton. There were a million ways for him to get home, but he chose that one. He chose that one.
Why do you use rideshare like you're running out of time?
I did just tell a staff member of mine who was asking me how my trip was. I said, it was great. I got to see 9 Inch Nails in Hamilton. And they said, you saw Hamilton in Toronto? And I said, no, I got to see 9 Inch Nails in Hamilton. And they said, Hamilton was running in Toronto? And I said, it was. No.
What the fuck?
I didn't see Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails, the band. And they didn't know who that was. And that made me feel old.
Wow.
It's the 2026 version of Who's on First.
Well, except they're just not listening. Like not
funky,
even
very clear what you're trying to express. What's Lynn like in person?
The John Oliver. The John Oliver of our Who's on First.
Truly.
Yeah, T, what's cracking with you, man?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I was saying we found our Chicago venue. We're going to do a kind of pre-wedding event in Chicago, which we're very excited for. We were looking all over and we found a really great, affordable place, so we're very excited about that. But actually, I want to talk about a week ago, my parents were in town just for a day and a half on their way back from Florida. And we just had a perfect day. A perfect day. Nothing's getting in my way. So this is kind of a singy episode, maybe. But it was, I was just wondering, sometimes everything, the stars align. You can do all the things you want to do in a city in one day. It was maybe a little crammed. That was the only downside. But truly, my parents got here. We wanted to go to this place, Little Goat Diner. It's kind of hard to get a reservation. They were all booked up on Saturday.
Did they get in on that day?
They got in Friday night. We tried a new Mexican restaurant we never tried that's near our place. It was awesome. Everyone loved it. Then in the morning, I was like, oh, we'll go get breakfast here. It's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's good enough. And then in the morning, I double-checked the Little Goat place, and they had a table open up, so we actually got the place we wanted more. That was really good. Then from there was a short walk to the Music Box. We saw The Furies. It's this 1950s Western that my dad really loves, and it was a rare, like, 18-millimeter print of it that they were screening, so it was just lucky that one day they happened to be showing it. From there, we got to see a really good production of a play that my dad is producing called Come Back Little Sheba that just happened to be going on in Chicago. And then in the evening, they got to see me do an improv show, which is like, just, again, good timing. It was a good audience, good show, and we had a nice dinner and everything. It was just like, we got to do all the culture, every like thing kind of worked out, and it was just, I don't know, I think I get this real satisfaction from planning a good day, especially when people are visiting, and it just was, it was so smooth. So I'm still riding that high a little bit.
Okay, sure.
That's great.
Sure.
I mean, they can never come back to Chicago.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it might be their like goodbye tour if the country continues to fall into the
descend
abyss.
Into madness. Yeah,
yeah. It did.
Yeah.
Kim was like, it kind of feels like I'm about to be put down, like the day you let your dog eat chocolate or whatever, because you're you can just do everything you love today.
I had no idea that you guys were such. I just didn't know this about your family. That's interesting, and collectively too, that you would all sit down and watch the furries together. It's I didn't even realize there was a classic movie about this sort of fetish.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised.
So you think that I watched my parents and I watched people in animal costumes fucking each other is what you think?
I assume so. I mean, the Music Box, when I was there, we watched The Crow, and a man died making that. So I assume this.
Is The Crow a furry movie? Because it's kind of about a hot crow.
Okay.
I feel like being a bird isn't. If you're a furry, you're probably not a bird, because feathers aren't fur.
That's really interesting.
You're a feathery, technically.
This is the ideology of like a bully furry. Like, no,
you don't qualify.
It's like they're Gargamel or whatever. Yeah. The enemies.
I will say there is a scene in The Furies, Kevin, where Walter Houston wrangles a real bull, and it's like one of those scenes where it's like he's using his actual skills, and it's a real animal, and it's very like suspenseful. And then this actor died before the movie came out. So it's like, he seems full of energy and it's a great performance, but it's like right at the end of his life. And you wonder if like doing that bull scene might have like taken out the last of his vitality or something.
Is every movie that you take people to see at the Music Box one where an actor loses part of their life force? Like, I feel like you're sort of using that theater in some sort of haunted Twilight Zone-esque ritual where you sort of showcase these violent films.
Yeah,
like The Crow? That's what we saw? The Crow?
We saw Giant with James Dean. I think that was his final performance. And we saw, I think it was Enough Said with James Gandolfini, which I believe was the rom-com he did before he passed away.
We saw By Design there, where that should be the last performance of many people in that movie.
Oh my God, yeah. I brought Adam kind of last minute to a movie that had like a good opening scene and then went real downhill from there. Anyway, perhaps we should do a segment. I feel
should we spin the wheel? Get
enough.
A segment
Let's
going?
Spin the wheel.
Woo!
He's heating up. He's on fire.
What do we got?
Jumpstart My Heart. This was inspired by Jesse Bergen's segment of segments. Participants must each describe a moment of deep surprise or shock that occurred, and imagine how different their life could have been had that not happened. Have you ever been genuinely shocked, flabbergasted, learned some new information that changed everything? And we can take as much time as we need. I have a quick one if you need time to think.
Yeah,
and
go
this
ahead.
might not be my final answer, but I will say the first episode of this podcast was a shock because Kevin tricked me. He called me. He was like, let's catch up. And then he was set up with the soundboard and the theme song and started recording with segments. So if he had not surprised me with that, we would not all be here right now. So that was kind of a genuine surprise that has changed the course of my life about an hour a week or so. Yeah.
I sort of whittled away. Yeah. At you. That's true. That was a big, it was an effortful surprise. I was, I've definitely, there's a few times recently where literally like surprise moments in movies, I won't spoil it, but there's a moment in Nirvana, the band, the movie that did surprise the shit out of me and like I couldn't believe it was a turn that happened.
When they dropped the F slur, right?
No, that one I saw coming a mile away. Like a John Oliver classic. Yeah.
But is there one? I mean, I guess the big one that I think of is like you realize that something like a relationship you had with someone was different than you thought. I guess those could be kind of sad moments, or one where like, I don't know, you realize like, oh, I thought that this happened for one reason, but actually this person had ulterior motives, or there was this other thing going on.
Yeah,
I'm sort of thinking like that. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, this was part of my disillusionment from academia, that I had submitted my dissertation to a journal that's supposed to be like the most prestigious journal in science, and it was being reviewed, and at one point the editor intended to send us like a Word document with line edits in it, but instead accidentally sent us the correspondence that she had written about our paper to her boss. So it was basically like reading, like someone sending you their diary on the day that they hung out with you.
No.
My God.
In which I learned that like, oh, we only got reviewed in the first place because my advisor is famous. Like we got to know what the reviewers had said privately about our paper, and that like they hadn't liked it, and she'd been like, well, we should probably publish it anyway. We kind of like have made this promise to them. But like she was much more lukewarm about this whole thing. And there was also like one of the reviewers had been like, they say the data is available, but like I can't get it to work or whatever. And she had written to her boss. She was like, I don't know. One side says the data is available. One side it says it isn't. Who can say what's right? And like literally, you could have literally downloaded it. And I was like, oh, if this is what it's like at the top, like there even here, there's no one behind the curtain. There's no one behind any curtain.
That's really good. I need to know, did they send a follow-up apology, and what was that email?
They played it, I think, the best anyone could play it, which is you send another email that's like, oh, sorry, I sent the wrong attachment. Here's the right one. Like, hoping that maybe
just don't look at it.
There's like some percentage chance that they never click on the first one and that we just move on. And if instead you make a big deal out of it, then there's 100% chance we're going to click on that thing. So, and we never said anything, like no one ever
fully
said anything. We just kept on going as if it hadn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this this only is vaguely connected to that. I used to work for this tech startup that no longer exists because it was a company that designed geofilters for Snapchat. So you can imagine how long-term sustainable that organization was. But at the company, it was run by a lot of like young tech bro-y guys in Winnipeg, and some of them were nicer than others. But the main guy that I worked closely with, who was sort of my direct superior, we were good friends at the time, but he was very like he was like a hockey boy in his vernacular. So he spoke very like bruh, buddy, and it was in his emails, it was everywhere. And I sent somebody that I knew, somebody in, I think, the Winnipeg acting scene or something, not a close friend, but someone that I knew had applied for a job with us, and I sent their resume through. I was in charge of a team, and I sent the resume through to Braden, and he replied to me and the email from the guy that sent it to me by accident. I don't know what he did wrong, but he fucked with the reply all in the wrong way and sent the guy the correspondence that he said where essentially was like, we're going to take a pass on this guy, buddy. And it was just so informal that it pissed off this guy who I like had like a very passing relationship with in Winnipeg. And then he got like mad at me and I like apologized and I was like, I'm sorry. I guess I owe you a drink, like whatever. But like he was legit pissed at me and I didn't really do anything. Like I was kind of like held accountable for some dumb admin error that my boss did at the time. But I guess it is what it is. I've ran into that guy since and he's given me the cold shoulder. So I think he's still mad. But that wasn't that shocking or surprising. I've definitely talked about the time I went to Edinburgh. The first trip I met Adam on was also when I saw that guy die. The first time I watched a human being
coming up to
perish.
You witnessing death or being adjacent to death. Do you think that altered the course of your life, seeing a man fall off a bridge?
No, I guess not. I would, if I was being completely transparent and honest, I think there's been some like, in the wake of my father's passing, it recontextualized my relationships with my brothers. You know what it was? Here's one that'll be interesting. I had like a discussion. I've talked to you about this, Thomas. My mother published a book about her life, and a memoir about her life and the things that she went through. So there's some revelations in there that were quite surprising. Because my mom has lived a very interesting and difficult life. But one of the more interesting things was that I had to relay some information that was in the book to my brothers who have a different relationship with my mother than I do, and a much less frequent and much less connected one. They don't really know, and I had to sort of give them the Coles notes on this book that I, according to my therapist, should not have read, but I did. And when I did, there was like a whole swath of like they just had a very different perspective of what the truth about who this very central figure in our lives, my father, was. And so that was it was like, oh, this is the reality you've been living with for 30 plus years. And it's just fundamentally different than the one I have. And for them to say, so that was like deeply surprising and like did 100% change the like way I view my relationship with them and everything. So yeah.
That is wild. And I feel like you have long lived with like family secrets and like confusing and ambiguous family dynamics, so I can imagine just like that feeling like a box that keeps getting deeper. Like there's always I don't know, new
there's always new interesting angles and perspectives to unveil, which is it's interesting. Humans are funny that way.
They wouldn't read the book themselves. You had to tell them what was in it.
They would not. No,
they listened honestly, to their therapists.
Candidly, I think they're just not really big readers. I think the crux of that. I'm not even
a whole book.
Hey man, there's a lot of words in this book.
I don't understand how you can't. I feel like I would want to know so badly. But of course, different strokes for different folks. But no. I mean, I just want to. I'm just interested in where I am in the book. I've skipped through all the rest of it. I don't know any of the other parts of it. I just know.
Just go to the index, look for Kevin.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then I sort of That's a joke, by the way, Mom. Just because I know you listen and you will. Yeah. Anyway.
I feel like I don't have an earth-shattering one, but I do think about some moments of genuine surprise that altered the course of my life, just being moments where I was cast in things or offered things, like kind of like you, Adam. I think going to Oxford was, well, for me anyway, I did not expect that to happen, and then when it did, it was disillusioning about academia and also like my relationship to all of that stuff. But I do think that really altered the course of my life. But then when I was there and I auditioned for the improv group, I really didn't expect to get in because there were like more than 100 people. I didn't know anyone.
Holy
I was like,
shit.
The odds of this
I was going to ask you guys about like what that journey into the imps for each of you was like. Because I'm kind of curious as to what position that holds in Oxford. How much, like, did you just stumble upon it? What's like the
They do like a big audition every year, and it's open to students and non-students. It's not technically affiliated with the university. And yeah, I mean, I just heard about it. I was like, oh, I need to do comedy and performance while I'm here, so this is something I should go out for. But, you know, at an audition, everyone you see there, you're like, wow, everyone's really good. And then when you're on the other side, it's a little clearer that there's like more disparity than you might realize. But again, just being a stranger, you're like, what are the fucking odds? And then Adam actually shared this recently. I can pass it off to you, but that because we met and I literally researched Adam when he was coming into Oxford as like, oh, he does comedy. He should be my friend. And I need to get him into the Imps because I am lonely. And I think we could get along. So I really like
scouted him.
I did kind of like chase him down to be like, you have to audition for this.
yeah. I used a very nice term. Yours was very more accurate.
What's a little friendly grooming?
For my sick pleasure.
Yeah.
But
and so Adam,
I'll
joined
let you
after
explain, but I'll just to briefly say that like I think having done the Imps connected me with several people and just like completely changed my experience at Oxford and also made some really close friends. And similarly, like Drunk Shakespeare and certain things here, which like I kind of regret, but I really didn't expect to get that job or work there as long as I did. So that was just one other thing of my surprise, but I will pass it off for Imps context if there's more, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, if not for the Imps, I wouldn't have come back for the second year of Oxford because I like did not like my program. I didn't feel like I was learning anything. Oxford is such a lonely place that if it hadn't been for being able to do improv with people that I liked, I would have been like, no, I'm gonna pretend to be sick. Like I got a terrible stomach bug a couple weeks or like shortly after getting there, and I remember part of myself being like, I hope it's really bad so that then I can go home blamelessly.
Oh man!
Be like, well, sorry, his stomach was too bad.
That was how I felt right when we had like America? An overnight. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just curious. Did you go right from America to Oxford?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a big move.
So there was this feeling of like I really liked college. Everything felt like turned up to 11 all the time there, and I kind of thought it was just going to be more of that, and it was like weird and alienating, and like I didn't understand at the time that a lot of the people I was meeting were psychopaths, and like didn't really understand how to tell the difference between like a friendly person and a person who knows how to appear friendly. Like I was just
Right.
I just
and to this day, sort of, Thomas has still kind of got the wool pulled over your eyes.
Yeah,
I have to say,
he's very good. He's very good at it.
He'll keep me guessing.
But he told me I'm really special. And that like important things are coming for me.
You're special, and that's why we have to kill each other, so we can both ascend. But that literally is how I felt at like a sleepover field trip in maybe 7th grade, where I was like, I'm going to invent a stomach bug for myself so I can go home because I'm scared and homesick, and just transfer that to grad school. It's
I think
beautiful.
Like also just to like piggyback on that it's in the same vein, but I do think like there was like a moment where I chose to do theater in university, and that really did shape the trajectory of, and it was an accident. I was looking for theology, not realizing it was listed under religion in like the I didn't understand how to navigate our like Aurora portal at the time that well, and I was signing up for. We had here at the University of Manitoba, there's a program called U1 where you can you don't have to commit yourself to a program. You can sort of sample from a bunch of the programs and then put that towards your degree. And so I was picking up a myriad of different courses, and I found theater, and I had done a play in high school that was awful. And called The Werewolf's Curse, and I was cast as the Sheik because they had to give me a role in the Circus Freaks. So they said, "Well, you're brown," and then someone got sick, and they had to drop out of the show. And I got upgraded to being the Olaf the Village Idiot, which was like an Igor pastiche.
Normally a white role, but we'll let you play.
Yeah. And let me just tell you, the guy that was in that role was white as sin. I saw him recently. He's still pale as fuck.
He didn't even change his race, huh? He stayed white.
We all keep telling him. You should do a Rachel Dolezal, but
yeah, he won't listen to me.
It worked
out for her. But yeah, so I feel like taking that class, and then I guess like furthermore like auditioning for Departures and Arrivals, which is like where Thomas and I like met and became friends, and
that was also a big one for me. Of like I was like first ever audition at U of M, and it made a huge impact on my life doing that show.
Oh yeah, look at us now. Yeah, so yeah, I mean there's lots of like, I mean I feel like you don't really know. That like in the moment surprise feels tough because I feel like those are like shock is a specific emotion, but yeah, I'm not really sure if that's something like we can entirely replicate, but you know.
So sorry everybody, we failed, but we tried to do the segment, and now we're going to talk to you about a different podcast, and then Adam will reveal his segment right after this.
Hey Josh, do you like drinks?
Hey Rob, I love drinks.
Oh my gosh, would you like having a good time?
I love having a good time.
Then dude, you gotta check out Poppin' Bottles!
What? A comedic podcast about our favorite beverages?
Absolutely. Every week we have a guest on where they talk about their favorite beverage. And then we do a whole bunch of segments. You like segments, right?
Oh, if I'm not eating an orange by segments, then I'm not enjoying it.
What about games? You like dumb games?
I love the dumber the game, the more I enjoy it.
Then you gotta check out Poppin' Bottles, available wherever you find podcasts.
And we're back. Adam, have you got a seg for the boys?
I do, but I was it might be close to the one we just did. But my idea for a segment is called Worst of All Possible Worlds. And the conceit is, if you believe in the multiverse and that every time you make a choice, the universe splits in two and there's a version of you out there who made the opposite choice than the one 100%. That you did. Yep. The prompt is what version out there is living your worst life, and what was the choice that they made that took them down that road? So you didn't make this choice, but if you had, it would have led you to your worst possible life. And I can go first because I think about this all the time.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is, I went to a Catholic elementary school, and but I was also into Yu-Gi-Oh, which is famously a gateway drug to the devil. And so I was like big into Yu-Gi-Oh message boards at the time. I was like 12, and everybody on there was an atheist, and I just remember reading some thread that was just someone was just like, yeah, obviously God's not real, and at the time it struck me, I was like, whoa. I was like, this guy's making some good points. And so at that point, I was like,
and
oh, I guess
got
I just
a blue eyes white dragon, which I can't quite look away from.
What just God would let him have that, and I don't get one? And so I would go to mass and just be like, man, I just gotta fake it through this. And I remember having the urge to just scream out in church, "God's not real." As a child,
I worship the dark magician.
Yeah, wearing the Yu-Gi-Oh like arm desk with your cards on it.
You've activated my trap card.
God's not real. Standing up.
And
having the pointy hair on one side. Sorry.
I didn't do it, and I sometimes think about the person I would have become if I had done it. Because I think that person would probably at this point be working for the Trump administration. Like, I think he would have been bullied. I think like you don't come back from that, especially in a small town that's like too weird, that would follow you for the rest of the time. I think it would have been like an outcast, and I think I would have really doubled down on the personality militant, of being hated by other people.
You'd be writing the same book you're currently writing, but it would be about white people being the only good race, and every other part of it
is take us so long.
Which I have to imagine is the same book. By the way, I don't want to equivocate.
The reactionary version of Adam's book would be like Have you ever noticed how most of the good inventions were by white people?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
the racial superiority theory for discovery.
Yeah, I think I had that person possibly inside of me. I think
the forward
we all
from
contain
Jordan
multitudes,
Peterson.
So I feel thankful to be in this timeline where I didn't yell out God's not real in church. And I feel sorry for the version of me who did. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
There was like a time I've like had big phases in my life, like where I've like been like in various interests sort of to make up a big component of my personality. Perhaps the most famous one would be the DJ rapper phase that I went through in my like mid-university career. And I was working in nightclubs. I was a DJ and I was doing a lot of work. At the time, eventually I like, this is a bit of a hustle to get your name out there, but I was also just like a very professional person, which set me apart from a lot of the other DJs I was working with, because the nightlife crowd is typically a little like show up late, get drunk kind of thing. And that just wasn't my vibe. But, and I was a little bit older than when I started. When I was first trying to kind of make my name, though, one of the gigs I got offered a fair bit was DJing for these like sort of underground Winnipeg rap acts. And sometimes they would bring in somebody that is like very like not well known to like the average listener, but they have like a small following amongst like, you know, hip hop heads, and like it would be in like some shitty rundown nightclub. And I would be there DJing in advance of the show. And then when the show was playing, I'd be playing the backing tracks for these artists. And the artists themselves were all the local artists were fucking horrible that would put on these shows. They were just like street rappers who were trying their hardest, but it was just obviously like something they were emulating. They weren't good. They weren't like putting a lot of energy into it, and they were also hustling a lot of other things on the side, illicit weapons and narcotics. And they would try to book me for more and more shows, and I eventually started turning them down quite a bit because I didn't want to associate myself with that environment. And I did a few shows, but after a while, I was like, I can sort of, the writing's a little bit on the wall where this life goes. If I keep working with these guys, the shows are going to stop, but I'm still going to keep getting phone calls to like show up to do like parties, and then the parties are going to get weird, and then something's going to get like, and so I kind of backed out of that. But there's a life where I didn't do that, and I got like mixed up with drugs in a way, because like I'm a big pothead now, and I imagine at the time I was pretty clean. I think if I had like started to indulge, maybe not in pot, because I'm pretty convinced, I just think I could find my way, speaking of gateway drugs, towards a little bit more of a hard drug lifestyle, which would have like genuinely sent me on a pretty rough path.
Blue
Struggling
meth,
and
white powder situation.
Maybe, yeah, and I don't know. It kind of would depend on, and I feel like I've also had that with relationships and like breakups. Sometimes it's just like, oh, what person would I be if I didn't end this like relationship that was unhealthy for me, or something like that. But yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah.
That's I mean, if Kevin had become full DJ, like if the DJ symbiote
took over,
had reached the brain. I hate to imagine what a husk of my friend would be left over.
There was a few birthday parties that are a little embarrassing to look back on, in the sense of like, I just had like full-blown champagne bottle service at like a nightclub and forced my like friends who want to sit down and talk about video games and ethical like quandaries and politics to like stand there while I like get champagne poured on me by some fucking 20-year-old who's getting $100 extra an hour. Like, just insane. Like, why?
Wait, that's what happens at a nightclub? Someone pours the champagne on you? But then aren't you sticky? What do you do next?
I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of bees flying around you by the end of the night.
And that's sort of that's how you know you sort of had a successful night at the club, is if you're sort of pollinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, two things come to mind, but one is, the relationship one. I think like this wasn't really a choice that I made, but I do think my first relationship, as I probably mentioned, was pretty toxic, and I was pretty willing at that age to just like submerge myself in it and try to fix everything. And I do imagine like a world where I became even more self-isolated, like cutting people off. There was a decision moment where we almost like let her move, or where she asked if she could move in with my parents. And I think that would have like really increased the intensity and commitment of the relationship. My parents were pretty against it, and actually so was I. Even though I was in it, I think some part of me knew like that's not a great idea. And so I wonder if I had like made
How
that
long before you
step.
guys split was that?
I would say that was probably like 6 months.
You were so young.
Yeah, she was young because she had a messed up relationship with her own family kind of, and didn't love being at home, and my family presented this alternative, and I really wanted to like
20
rescue
though?
her.
Like,
No, I would have been like 17, 18.
Yeah,
she was just going to live with us like during college was kind of the idea. And again, I don't think anyone really wanted that, but I imagine how that could have complicated everything and maybe turned me into like a recluse who was like very protective of her and lost a lot of friendships. It's kind of a sad answer. I think this is a maybe more interesting one where like I think about when I was in Oxford, I got like politically awakened to a lot of things that I wasn't really conscious of. I would say good and bad. And a sleeper thing in me was like just an enormous amount of like white male guilt that was brought up during that time, which some could say is legitimate, but I think like I really wanted to absolve myself of that guilt, so I maybe over-engaged with some of that stuff at the time. And a moment that I remember being a turning point, or at least causing me to be more like critical about what I was doing, was that there was this anti-racist Facebook group that I was a part of. And there was a post that someone made in the group that said, all South Asian men are trash. And I remember being like, you probably shouldn't say that in like an anti-racist group. That seems kind of against the spirit. And a bunch of people got mad at me in the group. And that was a weird, because I'm a white guy and they were like, you don't have a right to talk about this. But I was like, again, not to say I am for anti-racism, but it just reminded me to be like a little more nuanced and thoughtful about like, oh, some of these communities might like be self-contradictory, or like it's more complicated than you'd like it to believe. And I do think that gave me a broader perspective and saved me from being maybe a really like obnoxious, like liberal, like soapbox shouter type of person.
John Oliver.
Yeah, like Adam and I think have talked about like our dark side personas, and I imagine becoming like a Pete Buttigieg type with the wrong circumstances, that I like try to use my privilege to like be a do-gooder, but in like a really misguided way, and focus too much on my own ambitions, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I hear that.
And they got racism in the anti-racist chat. Like
they got everything there. It was awesome.
You gotta check it out, man. It's so good.
FBI, open up!
Thomas!
There it is again. Sort of a longer pause than I remembered between the FBI and Kim's voice.
I mean,
I made it while we were starting the ep, so okay.
Like the way that scene could be going is that Thomas has like dynamite. He's like got a suicide vest on, and the FBI is trying to get in. Kim's trying to reason with him, but they don't get there in time.
Wow.
But also, I guess you're suicide bombing your own house.
Yeah, it's not very effective protest. It's really...
Well, that's what you learned in the anti-racist Facebook group.
It's shitting where you eat for sure. Then no one can have my PS5. And just like, yeah.
I will say you haven't learned anything from the. You still continue to do a podcast with what I can self-define as a South Asian man.
Right, and you are trash, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for free.
Now, should we do one more quick segment? You said you had to go at 1, Kevin. Do you have time?
Yeah, let's do one more quick segment.
Okay.
Yeah. Woo!
Random review. Participants must drop a review on something. Rate it out of 5 stars. Now, Adam, as our guest, you will select the subject or the item or anything that you would like the 3 of us to review.
Your recent commute. Getting from one place to another.
A recent commute. That's a good one. I guess my most recent commute was this morning. Kim and I commuted one bus to the venue that we're going to be using for our celebration, and then one bus to get home. And on the way home, it was a little slow. It was like 15 minutes for the bus to show up, and it's kind of chilly today. So I went into a Gap and I bought a couple shirts. And that made it feel like I used my 15 minutes well. And so when I was on the bus home, I was like, hey, I got a shirt and a hoodie. I feel pretty good about this. So I'll give that commute, nothing spectacular, kind of bland, but pretty easy, painless. I'm going to give it 3 stars.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about a commute. I took 2 flights. Can I talk about those? Does that count as a commute?
Yeah.
I'll talk about my flight home from Toronto first. Both the flights to and from Toronto from Winnipeg about 2.5 hours. They're not bad. It's a pretty small flight, short flight. Both of them, I timed them out well. So my flight there, I arrived at like midnight, but I flew out at like 7 p.m. Not a bad time to fly out. The flight home, I got on the airplane at about 4 o'clock, or no, 5 o'clock. It was supposed to be 4 o'clock. I get it at 5 o'clock. It was late coming in, but I sat on the aisle row. It was 3 seats to a side. I sat on the aisle row, and the 2 people sitting beside me were much smaller than me. I'm a little wide-shouldered, so I know when somebody sits beside me on an airplane, it's a little like, oh man, like, and so I try to be mindful of that. But the woman who was sitting beside me, though quite petite, had a thing where her elbows just kind of had to be up while she was flicking away on her iPad doing stuff. And so she kept like brushing me, and it wasn't terrible, but it was, if I was trying to sleep, it would have been irritating. Overall, though, not a bad flight. I watched some downloaded YouTube content, made it through the flight very easily. Nothing to worry about. My way there.
YouTube. Wait, are you a YouTube Premium, or you're illegally downloading videos to store?
No. I have YouTube Premium. Please, Thomas.
That's pretty impressive. I want it.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate for the FBI to show up at my house. But then on my flight there,
Premium too, by the way.
Yeah, of course I do. And X Hamster Pro as well. But on my way there was
from one of those big water bottles. This X Hamster content.
on my way there, it was just honestly 3 guys that were exactly the same size as me. And it sucked. I was in between 2 guys who were my size, and I was like, I'm not that big, I'm too big. And I got self-conscious about my own body because I was forced to reckon with the fact that 2 of me, I could not stand 3 abreast in these seats. So that was just a reckoning of self-width that I had. That a commute changed me. I would give that commute all combined in my flights. I think out of 5 stars, they're gonna get. It's flying, so it ain't nice. It's gonna get a 2.5. 2.5, right down the
score.
Right, right down the middle.
Harsh but fair. Mine is I take my wife to work sometimes, and the traffic's just been great recently.
Nice.
For reasons unclear to me, that just like often it'll take like 30-35 minutes, and instead it's taking 20 minutes, and it just kind of feels like, guys, we could do this every day. This is, I don't know what we're doing differently, but we could do that all the time.
Because I was worried you were going to think it was sort of eating into your time with your wife, but I guess not.
Well, I just feel like we can do better than in traffic. I think when given free choice of what to spend time doing, I think we can hit a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Than just sort of being in traffic together.
Clutching sort of her own armrest while you yell at other drivers is not quality time.
We can do better! Out the window.
Yeah.
Adam, please. Please. Yeah.
We could be watching a film. Yeah.
Zootopia 2 came out 3 weeks ago. Screaming.
It's just like, what if we all decided to go fast now? What if like everybody is for it? We could all just go fast.
Adam at the Apple conference and
it's like,
what if we all
imagine
decided?
a world
where we all decided to go fast.
It's
now.
Like Kevin Smith in Live Free or Die Hard, but he presses a button that makes all the cars like speed up instead of all the traffic lights shut down. I don't know. I think that's what happens in that movie. It also has Justin Long, which is the Apple connection. The famed Mac.
He's the Mac from the I'm a Mac.
So yeah. Anyway,
whatever happened to the PC?
The PC is John Hodgman, who is on many podcasts and actually a very funny comedian. I strongly recommend following his work. I'm a big fan of John Hodgman.
All right. So shout out to the PC. Honestly, Justin Long not working that much.
Yeah,
right?
Burnt out, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, how many stars did you give that commute?
5 stars.
5 stars. Wow.
Wow. That's good. That's nice. I guess I should start taking my partner to work. I guess sometimes I do, but it's it's the same. We work in the same place, so it doesn't feel like novel in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the important part of a commute is it should feel different.
Every single day, something new. Okay. Well, we've rounded it out here.
It's time for plugs.
It's time to plug.
Wait, what?
Is there anything you'd like to point?
I thought you guys plug your stuff. I'm just a guest here. The title feels like using someone's bathroom. You're not supposed to do it.
Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something.
Title of the book, Adam.
I mean, the book, you can't get it yet because I haven't finished writing it yet, but it will be called The Strangest Idea in the World when it goes on pre-sale 6 months from now. So if you can hold this episode for a long time, that would be really helpful.
We can't.
And
yes.
We need this to come out tomorrow.
And I do all my work on experimental-history.com. If you don't include the dash, you're not gonna find me.
Right.
Big plug for Adam's Substack. It's always really interesting, and there's new stuff every 2 weeks for free subscribers. So definitely check it out. It is not. You don't need to be a scientific mind to understand it. It's very readable and funny, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. As for myself and Kevin, you can check out our other podcast, What We Do in the Basement. It's a D&D podcast that I'm no longer on, but I was for most of the run, and maybe I'll come back one day. For myself, you can check me out in Trigger Happy on Saturdays at The Annoyance, and also in Motorcycle Rocketship sketch show at The Annoyance. Next show is March 19th. Adam and I occasionally do improv as a duo called Super Ego. We don't have a lot of shows in the books, but we're going to try to get some more. So
we got a late show coming up, don't we?
We do have a late show coming up at LSI, which we're excited for. I can pull up that date, which is March 13th. So a couple weeks from now. Check us out there.
Hot damn. Check those shows out. As Thomas mentioned, check out What We Do in the Basement. You can also catch me. Thomas, don't forget to plug the Whiskey Radio Hour because I'm going to put that out.
Oh, yes, right. I mentioned this a little while ago. Former guest of the podcast, Neftali, and I think that's it, and a few other friends did a live podcast script reading with me called Whiskey Radio Hour, episode 31. It's a very well-produced show. It is live Foley, and the episode is now out.
It's very cool.
So if that sounds cool to you, you should check it out and support them.
That's right. Check that out. Support them. And then also, you can check out Club Soda. We're going to be celebrating our birthday. It's going to be our motherfucking 9th birthday. We're turning 9 years of age. Club Soda Improv on March the 28th. So rounding out the end of the month at the Gas Station Arts Center, our show is up. I don't think the tickets are on sale just yet, but if you follow Club Soda Improv on social media, you'll be able to get your first grab at tickets when they do go on sale, so you can catch us. It's always an incredible and fun time when we celebrate our birthdays. It's like a big fat party, so come out and have a good time with us.
Now,
I guess that's
We're about to enter the worst of all possible worlds, which is this episode having to end because I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, I wish we had made it.